Yeah, these are some of the painting I picked out for the theme of the fall. The fall season, of course, is spectacular with lots of colors. And I was very impressed when I was visiting New England to see all those wonderful color of yellow, red, but they are accented by those evergreens. So the contrast brings out the spectacular colors. The fall symbol is the moon. Among the four gentlemen, it represents fortitude. It is resourceful. It is having no fear to deal with the coming winds. And it's pretty much fully prepared. In China, the Mid-Autumn Festival is the time for everybody get together to enjoy the harvest moon. The moon is at the fullest, and families are getting together, and it is time to enjoy the harvest. It is time to celebrate. And in landscape, the autumn is a time to climb up, to feel the cool air, to see the distance. And so climbing up to the mountain is the thing to do in the autumn. So today, I like to share that particular perspective. Going up to visit a river to see the distance. I'd like to share with you an autumn scene. My son Evan told me, keep it simple. So this is a very easy landscape I like to share with you. I'm using a happy dot brush for line work or detail. And I will start out by doing a little structure. In China, it's called the Ting. The Ting is a rest stop. Ting means to stop. And it is usually at the best scenic spot for people to stop and view the scenery. So it is open with no walls, and it is supported by some posts. So I'm setting a Ting with the line brush. Then I am using the mountain horse brush, a small one, and keeping it dry. And I'm working the rock textures to set the Ting on a plateau. And I'm keeping the plateau area flat. So it's pretty narrow. And I'm reaching out to build a rock formation. And it's setting up on a hill. And I like to push it out. Showing the nose reaching outward. And develop a slope. And showing the body of the cliff. I'm putting the two arms unevenly to create a turning to reach to the tin. You see, I'm using lighter color ink to provide the framework. And I'm fading as I move off the composition. So that sets up the tin on the hill. Now I'm using a bigger brush and working some colors. The fall color is yellow, ochre, as my light color. I'm just having some basic foliage with the light color. Develop cluster of foliage with both vertical strokes, and then I'm working some Vermilion horizontal to give some variety. And then at the base of these, I'm using the brown. Without the contrast, the light color doesn't show up, so I'm using some brown at the base. And working a frame. And then on the top, I will use some dark green. Also to highlight or the frame or providing framing for the lighter color. And to excite the group, how about some red? Yes. I'll develop a little guest group on the shoulder of the mountain. Yes, the colors are more intense now. So, yellow, ochre, vermilion, and brown. Very nice. Back to the main group. I try to work some stronger color of the vermilion and yellow to add some dimension. Back to the happy dot brush. I'm adding some twigs and branches. Always impressed with those maple light yellow leaves with very dark brown trunks. So some of the vertical lines for trunk and some horizontal formation for branches. Heading upwards, same. And I'm keeping things simple. Develop some line work threading through the foliage. Nice. I'm using the flow brush, the most useful weapon, the pride of OAS. And I'm starting to add some color, putting some vermilion on the focal point, the Ning occurs. The Ning is there as a structure for people to view the scenery. But Ning usually is built in the most scenic spot too, so it provides a focus for other people in distance to view the Ning. So as we walk up and look out, we see distance and distance see us. And now, bigger brush, working some ochre, providing some lighter color on the brighter spots. You see, I use the body of the brush to fade the color. So constantly turning the brush to make the color root, color edge fade out. And as I moving down, moving away from the focal point, then the color is turning light. The beauty of this size paper is it retains some of the textures. So within the shade, you see strength. And I'm working some brown color now in reverse to blend into the lighter parts of the rock. And this reverse pushing to make the color naturally blend together. Working some of the darker color in the crevices. And then using a very light wash to show the brightest area. And then using pure ink to enhance the shadow, to add depth, to allow the contrast to develop. So at the darkest area, I got some ink. And same way, treating the foliage with occasional dark ink. And then using the mountain horse brush and dark ink, I will add accenting and allow the framing to be highlighted. Just enough in the center area, in the edges, to allow the line work to show dimensions. Some additional rubbing of textures. Then the foreground is set. I'm going to use a light purple to project a riverbank in distance. The base is flat and the top is sliding and tilting to the middle. So that's one bank, and then up, higher, little bit lighter. I'm setting another bank. Again, you notice how the brush is almost horizontal. So I'm able to fade the color with the body of the brush. So now we start to see a river winding. The amazing thing is just a few strokes, we can develop such image of suggestion. And a distant hill fading into the mist. And to suggest further the idea of the river, let's put a small sailboat. Mask and cabin. Moving into the distance. To make the scenery exciting, we will bring in happy dots. And keeping the theme color warm. And happy dots, of course, is excitement. It brings connection, tighten, give meaning to the space, and allow that sense of to be continued. It's like an all-purpose helper. And as the dots come closer, it gets bigger. And as the dots move up and reaching further, it gets smaller, even smaller, but still connecting the viewer's attention. We will bring some darker ones to add the excitement. A little bit lighter, but still continuing up to the distance. I think that's the idea. How about just a couple steps in and out? Allow us to climbing up to the Ting. Overlook the river and find our boat smooth sailing. That's our wish for a happy autumn.